Hi, today is Wednesday, April 15th. A few moments ago, I asked Siri on my phone how many COVID-19 deaths are there in Michigan. And she reported that Michigan has now totaled over 28,000 cases of COVID-19 and just under 2,000 deaths. As you know, those aren't just numbers, those are people. People that others care about very deeply: fathers, mothers, children, brothers, sisters, friends, neighbors, relatives. What a tragic statistic. As I thought about that, I thought a little bit about a Christian view of death. Now you'll notice I didn't say the Christian view of death. I guess as I age, I'm less confident about thinking that I have the ability to state what the Christian view is of just about anything like that. But I certainly have some opinions about a Christian view of death. I am, like many of you, a stumbling follower of Jesus, a too slow learner of Scripture who will run out of time before I run out of the need to keep growing and learning. But as I look to the Scriptures, there's a great deal about death. The Bible, of course, is a collection of ancient stories, laws, songs, poems, proverbs, parables, sermons, and letters. And in the New Testament, there are a number of letters. I'm thinking of the first century letter that Paul wrote to his dear friends in Philippi, a very personal letter in which he opens his heart and he says to them, I'm caught between two things. On the one hand, I desire to depart, that is, die. I desire to depart and to be with Christ, which is better by far. And on the other side was the possibility of not dying, staying in the body, so that he could live for Christ and live for the benefit of others, loving and helping them. His view of death as better by far because it was to be with Christ is fascinating. The Scriptures talk about death as being absent from the body and present with the Lord for a child of God, which is a wonderful thing. But death is not our friend. We should not sugarcoat it or act like it's a friend to be embraced. No, the Scriptures call death our enemy and suggest that the power of death is with the devil. Nor do we look forward to the process of dying, but we don't fear death. Remember, David in the very familiar Psalm 23 said, even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Now, I'm not eager for the process of dying, but I do know that Jesus will be with me. And I know that on the other side, to be with Christ is better by far. Well, better than what? I think Paul would say better than anything. Think of your happiest, most contented, most wonderful minutes on earth, and Paul would say to be with Christ is better by far. But he was not eager to die. I think God made us so that we want to stay here and live. And as I mentioned, Paul's desire was to live for Christ. To me, to live is Christ, and then to die is gain. And he wanted to stay so that he could continue to love and help the people that God put in his life. Well, as we are in this time that's full of all kinds of things that are troubling and fearsome, as we see these statistics about people who are dying, who are ill, perhaps I'm talking to someone who has already had a relative who has succumbed to COVID-19. And so our hearts grieve over that, and we ought to be praying for and encouraging and comforting one another. But those who follow Jesus should not fear, because Jesus is with us. And while he leaves us here, it is to live for him and to live in love for others. That's my take on a Christian view of death.